degrees Celsius yesterday.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yep.
That is not the norm in Sweden, I can tell you. Usually it's above zero until the end of January, and then a week of freezing cold. So this is unusual.
Wow. At least it's pretty, isn't it? Like snowing a lot.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. Much better than the dull grayness, and rain.
Yeah, if it's gonna be cold anyways, might as well go all the way. And you have something.
It's the same with the Christmas decorations and the festive feeling. Might as well go all the way.
How's your presentation, Mitch? Did it happen already?
It's happening right after this call. So
cool.
I was just about to pipe up and say, if you have anything relevant to me, you should do it sooner than later, because I'll probably leave like 15 minutes early from this call.
Yeah. Okay, let's jump right in then. I think Septi will not be here today.
I will be recording in the place of Septi. Yeah.
Nice, fantastic. Then I'll do the formal introduction. So let's start. And welcome to the Rewards Working Group meeting of December the 8th. We'll get started right away with the status updates and start with the Rewards Work Group startup and Livy.
I think that's all done. And we have the manifesto. Nobody was against it. It's in the forum. We have our slide for the community call. I think it's all good.
Let me see if we had something else. I think it's only small things. Roadmap, we decided not to do a roadmap, right? Like a separate thing.
We have that one that Mitch wrote already. Maybe we need to update that, like where we are right now. But everything is laid out there.
Yeah. That probably will do it. Definitely. We need to create this forum category and do a post in the forum.
I created the forum. I put it in the working group section of the forum.
Nice. And then we'll close that one. Cool. Then let's move on to first Quant preparations and execution. Mitch.
Yeah, so we had our first sync last Friday. Me, Zepti, MS, and Ryle? I can't remember. I think he was the third person there. And so we delegated some important tasks like creating the quantifier onboarding document, kind of tossing around some ideas about how we're going to onboard. So like having a synchronous call to onboard people and kind of show them through the dashboard. So I don't think there's really many blockers left for this. Some of the ideas we're having is just having a nice template, because there's going to be time commitments that are needed from the reward board. And we want to avoid a situation where the same reward board members are having to do these synchronous calls with quantifiers. So for onboarding and for doing the review calls, right? That's what we decided on. So just creating like a simple template agenda so that it seems really easy for reward board members to just like jump in and facilitate a call. So that's in the works. We talked about Chewy has like an animation team that will be coming together in January. So post MVP, we can create like an animated tutorial that'll be post first quant. The reward board is set up. I think it's done with 24-hour vote duration. So I think that should be done, and there's no more confusion or contention, and we're ready to start using it. After that, a lot of it is just like I kind of have some loose ends that I think I can't do between the quantifiers, and that is to decide the parameters.
Yeah.
So we'll have to do that as a group. And then the other point about recruiting quantifiers, I think I need to kick it up a notch, and maybe at the community call we can, when we presented the rewards group already, or we'll be doing it right in the call.
Christopher presented last week, but then this week it's mostly updates and stuff.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I think it would be good to have a call to action during the community call, and explain to people that like we need new members, like any new members, like if you want to be onboarded and learn how to participate in the reward system, by doing quantifying, it'll be like a minimum time commitment. So like an hour to 2 hours bi-weekly, or for like a whole 2-week period will take about 2 hours. And you can help make the reward system awesome by providing valuable user feedback. So a nice call to action for new members and seasoned members as well.
Sounds great.
Yeah. Apart from that, yeah, like configure source cred, yeah, there we go. And then we just need a working prototype to start filling out the tutorial and doing a trial run.
Yeah. I just want to point you that configuring source cred will be a thing, I guess, more than just writing about the parameters that is. Matteo, feel free to jump in here, but I guess that we would need to have sort of a deeper discussion about the source cred configuration parameters, because you have the option of how you reward, if you have this sort of this immediate reward or this more long-term reward, and or the grading calculations. So there are some stuff to dig into and discuss before the first time.
Yeah, I wanted to add that maybe it's important to give some time, extra time to set the parameters, like, and check if they are working or not. Because it's not like we change the parameters and next week we will know if they work. We need like at least 1 month or 2 months to see if they adapt to our necessities.
Yeah, and I think we would like to check with the source cred, the people from within the source cred community, or people that have been using source cred for a longer time, so that we are sure to use best practices, that stuff that they know this is a good idea to configure it this way, and then we can tweak for our own needs, of course, but to start up with the template that is sort of well proven.
I think it would be good too for us to have a few runaway sessions of the analysis happening, so we could have some insights on what praise is covering and what not, and then bring that to the source cred parameters. So maybe we think of like setting up source cred as maybe like a 3-month process with like one check every month, like seeing what was all the data collected, how is that talking with praise, what is being double rewarded, what is not being rewarded at all. And then by the end of this like third iteration, hopefully we would have the most optimal setting.
Yeah, that is the way I've understood it also, that it takes some time to trim it. Cool. Move on to next section. Source cred meeting tracker bot. V.
So the progress over there has been slightly slow as of late, mostly because of source cred. and figuring out how to make plugins work in SourceGrid. I did get like a fork of their external plugin documentation, which kind of works. I'm just a bit unsure about how we are going to manage identities. Like, do we associate the calls with the Discord identities, or do we make a new identity for the call reminder workload? Because the second case is easier. I'm not sure how to make the first case work, which is something that I'd have to maybe contact someone who knows more about the internals of plugins and SourceGrid. Maybe has, maybe Sina if they have the time to sync up. Yeah, that's the progress on that. However, like one thing that I've been thinking about for a while is like if this is something we can like make a fork of the official Discord plugin and add this functionality inside that itself, so that I don't have to deal with identity creation and managing different like identity aliases. And this is something that we can like probably add to SourceGrid itself. However, it would like not be something that everyone wants. So I'm not sure if it is going to be a good proposal, but can be something we can work on. Especially considering like not all communities are going to be using the events system that we are using, and maybe they would want call tracking or whatever. So, but I think it would be great if we can get the channel, like a communication channel going, and I think I'll probably do that this week or the next week when I have like a sync up with Rider or someone from SourceGrid.
Yeah, I agree. I think it also was an interesting idea to sync up or to add this functionality to the core Discord plugins. This is a core Discord feature, the events announcing and doing events tracking, and not tracking but planning. But let's see how that plays out. It will be interesting to hear. Thank you. And for the pollen bot, maybe I should mention something there. No, Matteo, you are here. Sorry, please go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not available completely, but I can jump in that aspect. Yeah, I was talking with HC, and the pollen is, I think, almost done. It's just that we were requiring the token from GitHub, so there was a security issue that there is not a token for a repository only. The token implies access to all of the repos from the user. So basically, we had to create a dummy user essentially only for this purpose. So I created that. I gave him all of that it was needed, and I think we can move on with that. In the future, if we need another token for access for committing, we can use that user, and that's it.
Yeah.
I don't need to add anything else.
And that would be sort of the final step for getting that bot running, isn't it?
Yeah, I think with that we can totally test it out.
Yeah. So that's great. One more work stream that we can close down quite soon, and let people know that they also can start self-administering their SourceGrid profiles. Or maybe we should wait with that until the system is up and running. There's like no need of doing that beforehand. And we have the Praise backend. Let me say a few words about that. We have seen a bit slow progress on the Praise backend, and unfortunately, the last few weeks, which means that I'm fairly certain that we will not be ready with the MVP version of Praise until next week, unfortunately. Which means that we need to discuss how we deal with the trial quant. But let's take that after that discussion after the status updates. let's move on to praise front end, Nebs.
Yeah, so this week I finished video screen details for that, but with dummy data as we don't have backend for that. And we had a few more issues, 3 or 4 that was fixed. And right now I'm working on endless scroll on the main page for praises, and after that we can use this feature on all screen if needed. And I think that's it.
Yeah, so we try to move forward with the front end as best we can without having the big parts of the back end accessible.
Yeah.
But I'm confident that we will get it done just a little bit later. And for the allocation, we came up with the name for the dashboard, RAD, the rewards allocation and distribution dashboard.
Well, I got to run for my money on naming things now.
I can hop in here, Christopher. So first off, with it being called RAD, I want to do like a bunch of totally tubular memes and GIFs and stuff. So I'll make sure to throw that out there. So Nuggin has a good working version of my binder going. I hit Christopher before, that's just an issue or two, but I'll support him. And the goal is that for the next call, so next week, we'll actually do a live demo and walk through of the analysis and everything going on there. So it integrates the chart that shows the in and the outflow of praise and where it went. And then it has a couple of other really cool things that we're going to put in there as well.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Oh, it was great to see that I wouldn't say it's almost done, but it's not long to go before it's done.
I really want to give a shout out to Nuggin and Octopus on that. I've kind of just been like a support for it, but from a workload perspective, Nuggin's really been running with it, and Octopus has been a wealth of knowledge. So I just want to make sure that they get the appropriate credit. So, and I just am playing as much of a passive supportive role as possible. Cool.
Okay, thank you. Then let's move over to discussion topics, and the main thing I would like to bring up is that we need to delay the trial quant because we won't be finished by next week, basically. So what does this mean? And I'd say what we had planned was to start the trial quant and do the post quant analysis on the 22nd, if I remember correctly. And if we push that a week forward, which I'm not certain that is enough for us to get the back end done, then we are getting into weird territory and sort of in between Christmas and New Year. And I don't know how the cryptosphere works during that time, if you plan big things in those in-between days, or if we should try to actually to push it into first week of January. And any ideas and any voices on this?
I think after the 17 will start to get hard.
Yeah.
Like that week of the 20 something, I think is, I don't know, we could try.
Yeah. And then between Christmas and New Year, at least a few people will take some kind of vacation and or be not available as usual, at least. So it's also difficult to make things happen. Yeah. So my suggestion, my proposal would be to move the trial quant into January. And maybe to then do the trial quant on the 5th and plan the post quant analysis on the 12th. And
yeah, I think it makes more sense that they are glued to each other, right? Because if we do one one part right now, and then the analysis or the discussion next year, people will be like out of their heads.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well, that we should keep them quite closely together. So do anyone oppose that we move the move trial Quant to that first week of January? Then it's a done deal. And I added to the agenda this other topic of work group funding proposal. Is this something we need to discuss further, or do we? Because we have the reward board have a stream of funding, and the quantifiers have a stream of funding through the periodic quantifications, but the rest of the work group work is not funded, and there is no proposal made for that. Question is how much, except for the weekly or bi-weekly rewards work, will there be once the rewards upgrade project is finished and the source credit is running smooth and praise is running smooth and we're not planning any upgrades, etc.? Do we have any opinions on this?
Well, what are our expenses?
Yeah, that is the open question. What will how will the work group work look after the upgrade is done and what is left when if you remove the reward board work? What is left?
Well, there's going to be making the analysis. There's going to be the quantifier onboarding and the review calls for every quant. And then there's going to be actually like distributing quants. So like all the technical part within the DAO.
So isn't that covered by the, sorry?
Yeah, no, those are all the board responsibilities that we outlined.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of, there's going to be work there, but we're asking for money, so are we paying somebody to do it, or is that the question, or what do we need money for?
No, but maybe we don't. Maybe because that work that the reward board does is covered already by the funding. The fixed amount of funds for each praise period. So the work that is within the reward board shouldn't be covered again from some other fund. So it's more like if there is large amounts of work outside of the reward board, then we should consider making a funding proposal. Then I know that Tam and others say that every work group should make one if they're so that all work groups have an idea of how they're plan to fund themselves. But our proposal could be like most of the work, like 95% of the work will be inside the reward board. So for now, we don't need to make a proposal.
What I do think is when you want to start development on V2, so making a forkable version in JavaScript or like a modern web language that will be the product or service that other DAOs can start using.
I would like to suggest maybe thinking of a bounties pool. That would be good because maybe there are some things that we don't think of them right now, but that are small things that can be incentivized through bounties. And that one thing that some of us have been following for the funding proposals is to continue with that rate of 19 DAI per hour. So yeah, maybe if there are gonna be some fix, you can use that numbers, or if you think that maybe just having a pool for bounties, yeah, it's up to you.
Yeah, but then you would still make a proposal for for getting this pool funded first, and then you can allocate it either towards bounties or hourly work.
Yeah, I think the proposal will have to be like a targeted project, you know? Can't just say like, oh, general reward system funds. It's like, okay, we need to make V2, and it's like, we need this much from the treasury.
Yeah, I agree. I think it stays clean if we use this percentage model that we have now for funding all of the reward board, that we have already the responsibilities outlined for it. And then if we need something like of a technical development, that's a very easy proposal to make to the DAO. It's not a huge amount of funds, and there's a clear purpose there, and it's quick to receive it.
So basically, then we will not make a funding proposal for the work group just now. That is the conclusion, sort of. Cool. And when it comes to praise version 1 upgrade or the continuation of that project, then that is not necessarily a TEC project. It could also be like a joint common stack TEC Giveth project because if all those communities will be using it. So that could be run just partly within the rewards work group or outside of it. We will see. Cool. The last thing, I don't know if this is a discussion topic. I just I just saw that I think Septi asked us to discuss this somehow tonight. Did he?
To go through the questions in the document here?
Yeah, I just thought I saw him mention it somewhere.
I think a few of the questions, Mitch, were handled through the conversations that you had, but I don't know if we want to just have our sync this week and then bring questions that come out of that next week. I don't know if it's too early right now.
Might be too early, and I don't know if it's the best use of everyone's time in this room. But I would say we do have a quantifier sync on Friday, so if you want to jump in some of these questions that will impact the reward system, then come to the meeting.
Where can I see that document? Sorry.
Yeah. But no, I was just gonna mention the same. I'll make sure it gets in the channel, or if Christopher, you wanna.
It should be in the thread, or maybe it's in the GitHub issue.
It's in the GitHub issue.
Yeah. So if you go to the calling all quantifiers thread, and then Zepti posted the issue there.
Okay, thank you.
One thing I don't feel clear on is how we're going to go about picking all of these parameters.
I think we should make a call, or at least the other time we did it, Mateo was hosting this call, and we were going one by one and kind of discussing it, kind of like the param parties have been, just like discussing the possible implications of each choice.
Okay. All right. I feel like if we just approach it like that without starting an asynchronous discussion, it's going to take a really long time. I'd like to break it up into clear chunks somehow.
Yeah,
because it feels like a big
the
tangle.
Best would be, best would be if someone within the reward board feels that they own like the source code parameters. The way I feel that I own the praise parameters, and I can drive that discussion. And there's for the praise parameters there are only 4, and it's quite simple, and Mateo, if you feel like you would like to drive that discussion, I agree with Mitch that it would be good to start that discussion asynchronously, like listing like these are the current parameters, and I don't know what needs to be changed. That is because I haven't looked at them. I don't know that much. So the person driving that discussion would have to sort of highlight what needs to be looked at and considered.
Yeah. I would. Sorry, go ahead, Mateo.
No, go ahead, Mitch.
I think what would help is if we had an exhausted list of all the parameters. Like I made one at the beginning, I think, with the reward system V2, but I don't think I got everything. So having a nice table like that with each category, and then the parameter that needs to be changed. And then we can just pin it somewhere, we can make a thread, and then like we can get it going like that. And then I agree, like a synchronous meeting will be very helpful at some point.
Yeah.
But let's start that
especially. Sorry?
Just let's start that document, and we'll add the source code parameters and the praise parameters and the sort of the general parameters, such as the funding amount or the budgeting for the first praise period, or so we bring all the parameters together into one document.
Yeah, and I would like maybe more like importance to the discourse parameters, because I know that we gave more importance in the beginning to the GitHub. Tam, back in the day, she made an amazing job trying to put the best parameters for that. But I'm not sure who can be, at least for discourse, and for set like a good first set of parameters, or revise if the ones that we have already are working properly. Not sure if someone from comms, or what do you guys think?
I think we'll need to outline this first, and then we'll have a good idea of, because I think everyone's going to have insight on everything, you know?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
And I'd like to bring in source cred experience into this. So Aloysius or Ryder or Athena or all three, or someone else that has configured. If Discord is this course is the thing we're thinking about most, someone that has experience in configuring that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I invited, yeah.
Do it. Say it.
Go ahead. I was going to change something.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll finish this one. So I can take on, and I can just post the table, and I'll make a thread if we want, and I can post the table that we have currently and pin it, and maybe we can start to restructure it from there.
That's great.
Okay. Go ahead, Libby.
Thank you. Yeah, and that would be very helpful, actually, to have the table. No, I just wanted to say that I invited Aloysius to come today to share the results of a survey they did for the praise, and it has very, very interesting results, and I think we have some time left, so maybe we could jump into that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Hello.
Hi.
I am making it so I can share. I'm heard, right? Correct?
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. So, I had curiosities about the human experience on the other side of praise. Our team, we were struggling with our time zones and everything, and I wanted a science still. So we came up with a plan to create a survey to give ourselves a data set so we could still kind of be messing around with this. And yeah, one of the first questions I asked was like how long people had been exposed to the praise system. This was sent to people I onboarded in the last couple of months, people I absolutely wasn't aware of in the ecosystem, people who are stewards, and people who attended the gravity training. So I tried to send it a little bit to everybody who's been here, like across the time. This question, do you feel the level of praise you have received is consistent with the effort you put into tech? A lot of folks felt like their praise was consistent with the effort that they put into tech. The next slide is about value. And I can go back and forth between the two just to see the difference. Do you feel like the level of praise you have received is consistent with the actual value you think you deliver? This one's a little even around. And then the previous one. It looks like it's evening out. When it was down to 20 responders, this was a lot different. These charts were a lot different. And I don't have a way of, I couldn't tell who was, if the people coming in were new and had been a while, or had been around for a while, or had not been around for a while. And I also don't know how to present these things. So at any point in time, interrupt me, ask questions, something, because I can't see anybody and I don't know what I'm doing. This is about whether or not their praise fluctuated over time. Most folks experienced an increase. So because some of the questions, I thought people might be able to give us some insight too. This was one of the questions we asked, if it fluctuated over time and they were open to saying more, could they? The common theme is most folks realized that when they showed up more, they received more praise. So a lot of people associate the receiving more praise to showing up in the space and taking on more work. This was fun. If it fluctuated over a specific time, can you track it to events? I wish I would have done a follow. This is the one question that taught me something about this survey. This one is, I should have asked a question on this, is to ask people what that thing was. I believe that I would have gotten multiple answers for what people thought was the impact of why their praise, or what these specific events were. I think it would have been different things. I think it would have been changes in the commons, maybe conflict that happened in parts of the project, but I think there would be various responses. This one's for me because I'm autistic. Would you say it's a stimulating experience? I had to ask if it was positive and negative, because I know that I've experienced both. And we got 32% said that they had a positive and a negative experience. I thought that was interesting. 90% overall like it. My guess is the 10% doesn't want to participate in it and feels pressured to participate in it. Someone who's doing something that they don't want to do. Yeah. Has it ever been frustrating or even discouraging for you to not have received praise? This question was considering the possibility of people being left out, like expecting to when they participated in something and maybe folks not knowing that they were a part of it. Do you think it's a fair way to acknowledge what you bring to the table as a person? 57% said yes. I'd like to see more rewards mechanisms tailored to the ecosystem needs. 19% said yes, it's fine. 15% said no. Oh, 15% said no, and I would like to see more rewards mechanisms. You guys can still hear me, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Am I doing okay?
This is great.
Yeah, this is great.
Great. And I'll share these slides in the thing too, so people can read through all the things. This was, yeah. Do you think that the reward system that come from praising is fair enough or adequate? We got some really neat responses. I like the yes, fair, enough, no, adequate, not at scale. I was like, dude, same. It's like, that's a really good response. I'm like, yeah, it's fair. Is it enough? No. Is it adequate? Not at scale. Yeah. And then the rollover from those questions. We had a lot on that. Does your day-to-day mood and your work environment affect your ability to acknowledge the works of those around you and affect your ability to offer praise? 70% of people acknowledge that their day-to-day environment affects their ability to operate with the system. So my brain was like, yeah, we still need more mental health. Woo! I think that has a lot to do about the physiological safety of our ecosystems, and just how people relate and the saturation of time we spend together. But let's see. And then we just got some any extra things that people might want to share. I love praise. Criticism is that collaborative work is hard to achieve, and a lot of it's done in isolation. Tasks that cut across multiple working groups are much less recognized than tasks centered on a single working group. Lots of folks enjoy it. I want to learn more about this Ikagi or Ikagai or whatever this is from the data. I didn't get this one. This type of praise, though comprehensive, seems a bit gross. Do not if a viable alternative exists, which could be one of the aspects of the Dow research program is probably about. I didn't understand that when I read that. Just like my brain couldn't interpret that. So I don't know if anyone has any insight on what that one means. I didn't get it. Hello.
Super interesting.
My guess, I don't really understand this, but my guess is as good as yours, is probably that they try to mention that, specifically outlining praise like this seems weird because you're like super appreciative. So it's like constructed, like you're forced to appreciate. So that's something that some individuals might not like. At the same time, like praise isn't like something that you need to participate in particularly. Like you don't have to necessarily praise people. It's part of the culture, but if you don't want to, you don't have to. And that's irrespective of you getting praise, as far as I'm aware.
It seems like people have the general opinion about praise, like that. That you can use it, but you don't have to. You're happy when you get praise, but you're not really super sad when you don't get it. So you're not counting on it. You're not counting on it as being like the base of the base reward for your monthly salary, or you like I have earned I need to get my praise, but it's more like a positive feedback. You get happy when you get it. That was just a random thought.
The survey gave me an interesting thought too when I had gone through it. So a prime example is actually what I was saying about Nuggin earlier, where I might get basketed into praise with someone else, and then there isn't really like a statistical weight of proportion of how much effort somebody put into that. And I almost feel like sometimes if I receive praise, I'm receiving more, like there's more value being put to me when really it should go to somebody else because I was more passive in that scenario than I thought. So it's actually a flip where like I got praised, but I almost feel bad getting the praise, right? Because I want it to go more heavily to the people who really put a lot of work into it.
That would be such a cool praise feature, to be able to pass the praise to someone else. You know, like when it drops to you, you can like re-give it and not get the claim.
Yeah, that would be awesome, because I would actually utilize something like that now, especially with stuff that I've been doing with Nuggin and Septimus and things.
Yeah, I think we can set that up in the V2 of praise, maybe like with reactions or buttons where like you can pass on your praise to other individuals in that call, in that mention.
Yeah, it's super interesting. It becomes sort of like an extra dimension to praise that I praise an individual, and then that individual can also make a statement or have an opinion about whether that person was deserving of the praise or would like to pass it on. Then it becomes multidimensional and even more interesting to analyze as well.
What I think is cool about that perspective too, Christopher, is it could actually end up passing in the scenarios where people feel like they got passed over with praise, because the people who were closely working on that situation that got the visibility, but maybe it was somebody else that they would pass it to, you might actually see a more fair distribution and allocation in those cases for the people who felt otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah, it becomes a more sophisticated signal, but always coming from the receiver. Like the receiver refines the praise that arrived to them.
Nice. I'll make that into an issue and start planning for to integrate into version 2.
I lost internet there on a thought, but hopefully they came across. Sorry about that.
An interesting like point shared by the survey is that many contributors would not be noticed if they're not actively like coming to calls, and I think that also like reflects how praise and a compensation model is much more of an additional reward. Because if you like look to how it has been for a while, like right now, like contributors have been financed by the Common Stack so far, where like Common Stack is paying them some amount based on the number of hours they spent working, and that's irrespective of the praise they get. Yeah, there's obviously like that dimension of not getting enough proportional governance tokens, but I guess governance is relative to how much you're interacting in the community. So I think it's pretty fair standing if we somehow form a like a tertiary system that's like dependent on the working group or something similar to that. Like for example, coordinate can be an option in which like specific working groups divide their budgets between the members based on the projects they're working on, in which like people can get more recognized and get the funding they want. And I think praise is like a bonus on top, and it's like something that you get for interacting with the community. So yeah, this is something we can maybe think over.
I think the answers showed also that is how people see it, as a bonus more than a base salary or a base reward system. It's a bonus. It's something on top of something else.
An aspect I liked too of the survey was the indifferent, like the amount of people that answer indifferent in every question, because I think that shows a little bit of intrinsic motivation also. It's like, this system exists, I use it, but this is not the reason why I do things.
Thanks, Aloysius, for that work and those insights. That's really valuable.
I have one more thought about it overall. Just the tool as itself is all these things that we have in the ecosystem will have like multiple uses. Like it'll start to be like, oh wow, this also shows me something else. I've been noticing that with like, yeah, just like who our praise givers are by habit. And I've been noticing how I can like, I don't know, this might be an assumption, but I can see the trends and behavior patterns of the people who use the praise system. I can see when they're using it less. I can like literally tell by their text and their writing if they're like more excited, less excited about life, just by the way they're using praise. And like, I think that could be a health, like a way to grasp like a health metric if you wanted one for the people who are intrinsically motivated to do this sort of thing. Like I am a gratitude person. I'm huge on morale. Yeah, I love praise just because like that's stuff that I've like done training people and leading people, like it's good. And I also know how the people who use that like are affected and how it differentiates in them. So like, yeah, just something to be mindful of when we're like looking at the data and stuff. My goal is that eventually we'll all start valuing not content people are creating, but we'll start valuing ourselves and start putting the all these incentives towards us becoming well, us getting better mental health, better nervous system regulation, whatever, so we can thrive and actually create badass shit. So I'm always going to be thinking about the tools and technology as windows to people's health also. So that's something I'm thinking about with these.
Yeah, and you can quite easily also gauge the health of the community as a whole. Just and that, I mean, you just by doing like really crude analysis of praise, the like sentiment analysis, like are the words being used, are they mostly positive or mostly negative, or just graphing that over time, that will actually tell you something about what is the mood within the community. How does it? Yeah, does it thrive or is it going downhill? Cool. Maybe unless we have any other voices that would like to say something, well, then we'll finish a bit early today. 5 minutes.
I just wanted to add, next week, we're going to start to have weekly syncs with the animation team. So any kind of like notes that are around like the tutorial video for quantifiers would be really, really helpful, because they have experience in like writing the script and animating and everything, but what they want to communicate, I feel that it's going to be like its own journey. So any like document or ideas that anybody has will be very much appreciated, so that we can deliver this hopefully by the end of January. Yep.
Cool.
Thanks, Shui. That's so much fun.
Thanks. Is that it for today? It seems like it. Take care, everyone. See ya.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks,
See you later.
Christopher.
See you
Thank
guys.
you, Aloysius.